Moving right along, let's get to the coup de grace, the main event here.
Man,
our star aviation film. I don't know what else to say about this movie, but it is Top Gun Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
So good that apparently somebody here on the show has seen it 5 times in theaters.
And that's nothing really. I know someone that saw it 9 times. So
wow, is that your coworker?
No.
Okay. 5 times. That's still very impressive. You gave at least $200 to this movie minimum.
Not even close. Oh, you mean what? You're including popcorn.
If you're counting $10 a ticket, I was just counting ticket wise. But
10 times 5 is 50. But
sorry. Yeah,
200. I was going to say, dang.
You dropped out of calculus in high school. Don't blame me for it.
My math's a little off here, isn't it?
$40 a ticket.
All right. At least minimum 50.
The IMAX ticket was, I think, 16, 18. That was in Scranton on your bachelor party.
That's right.
I paid for your ticket too for that. Yeah,
we saw it. Yeah, thank you very much for that. We saw this on my bachelor party in Scranton, PA, the Electric City, of course.
The Electric City. That's what they call it. And
Scranton, hey, the Electric City.
The other 3
I call it that because it's the Electricity.
We took a picture by that sign.
We did, yeah. It was epic. Yeah, you said you saw it 5 times. The first time was in Scranton, obviously, for the bachelor party.
That's right.
Saw 4 more times after that in Screen X.
3 more times in regular format. The last time, in Screen X, which I'd never done before, and was cool.
So what's different about that?
It's where they project some of the picture on the side walls of the theater. So there's 3 projectors total.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, and they only did it for certain scenes. So it was cool. There was some picture that was added that wasn't in the regular version. I think, but not something I would do all the time, for sure. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'll give this a little bit of background info on this. It was released May 27 of this year. Written by Aaron Kruger, Eric Warren Sr., and Christopher McQuarrie, who also wrote Valkyrie, Mission Impossible Fallout, and Rogue Nation, as well as Edge of Tomorrow. So like a bunch of Tom Cruise movies here.
Valkyrie was good.
Yeah. And directed by Joseph Kosinski, who directed also Oblivion and Tron Legacy. I never saw Oblivion. I did see Tron Legacy once. I liked it overall. But this is only my second movie. He hasn't done a lot of movies, but this was a really solid one. It grossed $1.47 billion so far to date,
and it's still in theaters.
It's still going. Yeah, it's still going.
There's 4 showtimes tomorrow in Hagerstown. 4.
Oh my gosh.
On a $170 million budget. This is the highest grossing movie of the post-pandemic era, beating out even Spider-Man Far From Home, which grossed $1.13 billion. No, Far From Home.
Far From Home.
Oh, Far From Home grossed $1.13 billion. No Way Home was the third one, wasn't it?
Right.
No Way Home is the post-pandemic one.
Which would have to be the bigger one, you would think. That was. Yeah. It had all 3 Spider-Mans in it. That was definitely the bigger one.
I may have Spider-Man No Way Home.
It's a shoddy work from Anthony here.
Well, IMDb said Far From Home, so that's what's confusing me here.
Far From Home was the Jake Gyllenhaal one, I think.
Right. See, all these titles are honestly confusing.
Because they're all the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Far From Home, No Way Home.
They're all home.
Homecoming, right?
Homeward Bound.
Okay, so Spider-Man No Way Home grossed $1.9 billion. Okay, so it did not top No Way Home, because that's almost $2 billion. But I mean, I think what's most impressive about this is that it's not a Marvel movie. It's not a superhero movie. Granted, it's a sequel, like one that is 36 years removed from its predecessor.
The longest. I think that's the longest sequel ever. The longest time.
Sequel. I think Blade Runner 2049 held the record until this movie, I believe.
No, I thought Odd Couple held the record.
Yeah, you may be right. Odd Couple, I think, actually, yeah.
It's up there.
But as far as highest grossing sequel for a movie that's so far removed from its original, this is very impressive. I don't think many people saw this coming. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, before I saw the trailer, I'm like, this. I mean, I was passively interested, I guess, maybe. But till that point, I'd never actually even seen the original Top Gun. So I was like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll check this out.
Whose fault was that?
Well, I just, the original, even though some people regard it as a classic, the original, this is one that really surpassed the original, in my opinion.
It beat the Odd Couple. Odd Couple was 30 years. Sorry.
30 years. All right. There you go. Cool. Yeah. I just think it was very unprecedented and very impressive that this movie grossed as much as it did. Obviously the star power of Tom Cruise was a factor in it, but
totally everything.
I'm impressed that they were able to make an 80s movie in this day and age.
Yeah, really.
And release it in the year 2022 and make over $1 billion off of it.
Oh yeah.
Because this movie was straight up an 80s movie.
Yeah, it homaged the original in so many ways.
I mean, it was practically
soundtrack wise.
If they had released this and said it was a remake of Top Gun, I would have been like, okay, yeah, it is.
Yeah, because
it is kind of like a modernized version of the, not the same story, and obviously it is a sequel, but
it's definitely bigger than the first one, and yet without the first one, it wouldn't be as big.
Right. Exactly.
The opening scene alone is enough to get every person in there cheering.
Right.
The opening 3 minutes.
Yeah. It definitely relies heavily on nostalgia, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And it's just such a well-crafted movie from a technical standpoint, which we'll get into, but
so many great sequences there. I can name several off the top of my head.
And it's definitely one you got to see in the movie theaters. And I was so happy when I heard reports that Tom Cruise, he turned down multiple offers from studios wanting to have this on their streaming service so that it would not go to theaters. And he turned down all their offers because he wanted it to be seen in theaters. Like, man, that was such a great decision, because how much less money it would have done in just on a streaming service versus in theaters, and it's a movie it has to be seen in theaters.
They had to sit on that for years. They had to sit on it, right?
I mean, this was filmed in 2019, I want to say, or 2018, 2019.
It's supposed to come out in 2020.
Yeah, it was delayed, obviously, because of the pandemic. So
that's something. They sat on that for 2 years.
I like that they easily overcame some of my objections, because when I first saw the movie and, he's teaching Top Gun now, I was like, okay, but all these actors are too old to be in Top Gun. But when it was like, it's a bunch of Top Gun graduates coming back to be trained for a specific mission, it was like, okay, they got me there. Yeah. I love Jon Hamm in this movie because I think it's the first time I've ever seen him play a different character than the guy he plays in, that show, Mad Men. John Draper. Yeah. So, he was definitely different in this movie, because he was not, that debonair, suave. He still was Jon Hamm, but he was like more of the, the hard ass admiral who's like, I'm coming down on you, and I'm towing the line type deal there. And it just was a different side of his acting. So I thought that was really good. And the story was solid too.
Right. Surprisingly good. Like, people came for this movie for the special effects or the practical stunt work. But honestly, the stories were maybe probably what surprised me the most. I'm like, this is actually a pretty good story.
I assumed the fight between him and Rooster was going to be that he was responsible for Rooster's dad's death, for Goose's death. I thought that was going to be the fight, but no, they made it something else. And I was like, wow, okay, that's actually interesting. I was a little sad that they couldn't get Meg Ryan to come back, but they just wrote it that she had passed away. But that makes sense.
I enjoyed the flashbacks though. We got flashbacks of all three of them.
Oh yeah.
Yep. They did.
Her, Goose, and Maverick, obviously.
Yeah, they really pull on your heartstrings in several scenes in this movie.
Good heart.
The relationship between Maverick and Rooster are like the heartbeat of this movie, and it really pulls you in emotionally. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
The rift
even a lot more than Maverick and Penny. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Yeah. The relationship between them, the rift between them initially, it just makes for just a great movie.
And the way they accommodated Val Kilmer's, personal medical struggles, to have him in the movie, like that was good. I like that they were able to include him still, and have them have built that relationship over the years.
Yeah.
So it definitely worked on several levels. I always have my issues with any movie. I got your brother going the other day. Daniel, I texted him after I watched it. I said, meh. I said, I just finished Top Gun. Meh was my reaction. And gosh, he flipped out. He sent me so many texts just angry about my reaction.
I was like,
the second time I watched it with a friend of mine, he didn't like it. He doesn't like feel-good movies. And he called this a feel-good movie. He didn't like it.
Honestly, this is a feel-good movie. And I do have that bone to pick with this movie, though. I feel like they could not commit to an ending. They definitely went a little longer than they needed to. And it did get a little crazy there at the end with, the going behind enemy lines and stealing the jet. And although it was fun that, it was about the pilot, they were able to take out the new planes with the F-14, the plane they flew in the original. So it was like, okay, I see what they're doing there, but I feel that there may have been a way to do it without going so crazy on, just making the movie feel a little like it just was pushing a little longer than it needed to.
Well, to be honest, I did kind of wish Maverick would have died. I think that would have made. I love a good sacrifice, right?
Yeah,
it seemed like they were going to have somebody die. Like they were talking about it throughout the whole movie. Somebody's not coming back from this mission. They were foreshadowing that, and then everybody made it out alive.
One of the reasons I was so surprised. It was unpredictable, right? Who would have predicted?
That was a little surprising, but it's also the fact of like it felt like they couldn't commit to the sacrifices that they did have. Like they did. If you're not going to have a sacrifice like that, then don't have a sacrifice like that. Don't do a faux one and then pull it back.
Yeah.
Which is what they did.
The only major character here that dies is Val Kilmer's character, is Iceman.
And he does it off screen, and it's because of his cancer.
Right.
And if you don't watch the first one, you're not going to know that. You're not going to feel that. People cried during that scene with Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But if you didn't watch the first one, you're not crying for sure. Yeah. Right? You don't know anything about it.
I would recommend, if you haven't seen the first one, I would watch the first one to prepare for the second one, even though, I still think you should. To get some of that emotional pull that this movie has.
You see, at your bachelor party, I had not even seen the first one yet.
Yeah,
which is another reason why I didn't want to. Like, there's so many reasons for me to not go see the movie then, just because I had some bad information about the movie for one, but the other thing was, the crazy hours I was working at the time and wanting to get back to see my family. Yeah, already spending over 24 hours away from them. Right. So, I didn't go see the movie with you guys at the bachelor party, but I hadn't seen the first one yet. And I think it was definitely better having taken the chance to see the first one over the summer and then getting to see the second one more recently.
Definitely.
Might still try and go see it in the theater just because it does seem like it has a lot of those, planes and stuff like that.
Great action.
And the music. Talk about the music. The music was amazing.
Soundtrack by Lauren Balfe and Walter Faltermeyer, who did.
It's almost like they the original. Pulled it out of the last movie and just dropped it into this one.
Hans Zimmer was in there too. You didn't mention Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, a little. Yeah, he contributed also in certain tracks. I couldn't tell which ones, but the
song in the opening sequence. Dark Star. I love that track. Dark Star.
Yeah. And a great additional song here by Lady Gaga, Hold My Hand. I have played that song way too many times. Laura can attribute to this. I have played it way too many times in the car, but I'm okay with that. I will readily admit I bought that song. I have it in my iTunes right now.
Played it at your wedding.
I love it. I put it in my wedding. I did. It was during cocktail hour between the wedding and the reception. It was there.
Yeah, I prefer the music video version because you get the sounds of the planes in there,
of course.
Which you don't get. But yeah, it's just.
But yeah, and they incorporated that song also into the score of the movie, which just works so well during the emotional flashback scenes. Yeah. But I'm kind of with Mark. My only con was just perhaps maybe this movie is a little too long at certain points. But overall, this was a fantastic movie. I may be reaching slightly, but I don't think I am. I consider this, again, this is just me seeing it. I've only seen it twice, but I am pretty confident in putting this as one of the greatest action movies ever made. What do you guys think? Am I reaching too far by saying that?
I don't think you're reaching far enough. All right. And the fact that you say it's too long, no, it's not. I disagree with your hypothesis there.
Daniel's a big fan, obviously.
I'm a big fan.
Obviously. How much does your aviation experience
fuel your
you fuel that?
It's not even in the picture, to be honest. And my instructor, I don't even think he's a fan of it. My flight instructor, he laughed at the idea of a 30-year captain in the military to Tom Cruise's character. Like, that would never happen.
This is Tom Cruise, okay? Come on.
Oh, he wasn't a 30-year captain. I mean, because he was lieutenant in the last movie.
Right. And yeah, I made the mistake a few days ago of watching a reaction on YouTube to Top Gun by former fighter pilots. Mm-hmm. There are so many things that are just,
There's always going to be
something.
Yeah, there's always going to be something.
But you have to do it for the movie. And if you're not a fighter pilot, you're not going to notice. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a commercial pilot. I didn't even notice. So
the general viewer is not going to notice some of those inaccuracies.
It's kind of like the car stuff in the first couple Fast and Furious movies, where they're just like talking complete nonsense.
We would never, Anthony and I, at least, we would never know the difference on that.
I mean, in the later movies, you don't care because you already know that they're beyond nonsense.
Right.
They're just, they're superheroes. Yes.
Yeah.
You don't go to see those movies for their accuracy.
No. Yeah. I consider this one of the greatest action movies ever made. And my consensus, I wrote up a nice little consensus here. My consensus for this movie is a rare sequel that flies high above the original. Top Gun Maverick is an exhilarating thrill ride fueled by incredible stunts and practical effects, an emotionally driven story, and a dynamite performance from Tom Cruise. I mean,
that's a headline. That's a headline right there.
Right? I feel like I want a third one.
That's what people want to throw.
Okay, but not with Tom Cruise. I don't want him in it.
I want Tom Cruise in it because here's the thing. This is why I want him in it, because he never made the jump into true mentorship. He still flew the mission.
That's right.
And that's the thing, is he didn't let go. Like he was
the instructor. I feel like he taught them how to do it, right? I mean,
he did. He taught them how to do it, but he still had to be on the mission too, because otherwise it wasn't going to get done. He had to do it himself. He didn't follow Iceman's last thing that he said to him was, "Let him go. Let it go. You need to let it go." So to me, I feel like that there's a decent amount of character growth there, but it's just like he has just a little bit further that he could go, and it'd be nice to see it come back and maybe see if he could be an admiral.
Yeah,
I don't see him being an admiral. At the end of the movie, I assumed that he had let go and he was just living his life with Penny, working on the plane on the weekends with Rooster, and life is good. That's.
It could go either way.
But the fact that Tom Cruise, that's so symbolic that, he carried the movie. He had to come back and save cinema. I saw that a couple places. Tom Cruise saved cinema this summer. Yeah. Without Top Gun Maverick, would you have gone to see Where the Crawdads Sing, Anthony?
No.
I wouldn't. No, I did. By the way, I did see it.
This was the movie. This was the movie of the summer. I mean, obviously, we talked about Spider-Man: No Way Home being a huge success, but outside of that, there was nothing.
That was December last year.
That was all the way last year.
This is the movie of the year. This is the biggest movie of the year.
This will be the highest grossing of the year. Most
Avatar will not beat this movie.
Really?
At least.
Okay. Well, Avatar 2 will not be that movie this year.
Because
it will not be that movie this year because it comes out too late.
Yeah, it comes out this late.
Do you think it'll beat it overall?
I think it's going to flop. I honestly think it's going to flop.
If you listen to our previous episode, I estimated between 1.5 and 1.7 billion for Avatar 2, which is what right around where this movie will fall into. It's a 1.4, I think, right now, like we said. So I think Avatar will edge this movie out. I truly do believe that.
I think it should. But I'm worried it won't. Like Mark, I'm worried.
Dina will understand this reference because he listens to Undisputed with Skip Bayless. There is one man in cinema I do not bet against, and that is James Cameron. Been doubted twice, like we said with Avatar and Titanic.
How many? Titanic, Avatar, Terminator.
There's two. Yeah, I mean Terminator. The first one was not supposed to make much, but I mean. It was mainly Avatar. And
they were getting in trouble on the first one because they were guerrilla filming that. They didn't have permits to do most of what they were doing. They would show up at a place and film as much as they could, and then until they got kicked out.
Yeah. So like I said, I think when you think of like Top Gun Maverick, I don't think people came to Top Gun Maverick for the story whole lot aspect. They came because once they saw the trailer, they knew this movie was going to be a movie you need to see in theaters. And I think Avatar 2 is going to be very much in that vein. They're going to say, hey, you want to see this visual spectacle on the big screen. So that's why I think it will do pretty well. Very well, actually.
I hope so. I hope you're right because I'm really psyched for it. I hope it does even better than the first one.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't think it'll beat the first one. That's the thing is I honestly feel like it can't beat the first one.
The first one is a very tall. I don't think it'll beat the first one. That's a very tall order.
That's a very tall order.
That's almost
the one thing that may do well for this movie and may prove me completely wrong is the China release. Because China
was a huge market for the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't get any of Top Gun, did they?
No, they didn't get a dime from Maverick.
And that's interesting considering how much it made, right?
Right.
It is interesting considering how much it made and the concessions that they made to try and get it in China, and they still weren't able to get it there. Yeah. Which is why
if it's
upset
not
with this film
China,
in the first place.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm happy about that they weren't going to change it just for China.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There were some things in there that
I would not care, of all countries.
I like that it was just a nameless, faceless enemy, though. I'm glad
they had to say that. They had to say
weird timestamp on there, though, because I think they did that with the first one too, though. It wasn't really like named.
Yeah,
was it?
The jets were named. They were fighting MiG fighters, which are Russian, but I don't know if they ever named the enemy. Which anyone could be flying anyone's planes. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because it makes it a little more timeless when they do that. When you have another, like Hunt for Red October and stuff like that, really only works during Cold War. You can't do something like that with now. Like maybe actually now you might be able to, but there were many years in between there where the idea of us hunting and fighting against Russians was kind of like a little out there again.
Yeah.
Or the fact that like the enemy was always North Korea or China or whatnot. It's like, come on, let's be, or actually the past 20 years where it's always something in like Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, something like that,
Which is what I've assumed this was somewhere in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except it was snowy. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. There was snow. There was snow in the mountains. Yeah. So they have snow there. Don't they? I don't know.
A little more rusky.
Somewhere in the Middle East surely has mountains.
Yeah, they still get snow somewhere around there at some point. But yeah, they left it very kind of vague. But
which was good, and I think it worked for the movie.
Yeah.
So
for my grades. Daniel, do you want to give your grade?
Do we get this? The way our grading system works right now, because it's still a work in progress, is we're doing A's through D. F is like something absolutely terrible, obviously.
Right.
And then you can say like a score as well.
Right. A percentage, 90, 95 or whatever, or 80, Then we also do like a watch rating system where like whether something is must see. Like
no. We're dropping the watch rating system.
We're going to drop it? Okay.
Yeah, we're dropping the watch rating system. The only thing we have now is must see. But, and I was going to talk to you about this, which we haven't quite, must see needs to be something that we only get like 3 of throughout the year.
Wow. 3 out.
So I want it to be kind of like Golden Buzzer from America's Got Talent, where it's not something you can just say, oh, this is a must-see movie, So I want it to be something like really special when you say, oh, no, this is a must-see. So it would be like the grade, and then must-see would be something you tap on top of it.
Yeah. All right, Daniel.
This is an A+. I don't know what we're talking about here. It's an A+. It's a 90. I'll concede. I don't know if the perfect movie exists. Let's say it doesn't. Giving a perfect 100. One of my professors in college, he was from Denmark, and he did not believe in hundreds. You cannot get 100. Nothing can be done perfectly, right?
Right.
So I'll give it a 98 maybe %, but A+.
All right.
A+. How can you not? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Where are you at, Anthony?
I'm giving this a solid A. I'm giving it a 95%, and I am putting this in the must-see category. I know
for sure.
That makes sense. I'm putting this a must-see. I really am. I think
it is a must-see.
You got to check it out. This is a great, American patriotic movie. Yes, it's a feel-good movie, but man, it's just a great movie. It just it really gets you amped up. It leaves you jumping at the end of the movie. You're having a bad day. You watch this movie, it'll turn your day around. You gotta see it.
True.
So
yeah, I mean, when this movie was over, I had a big smile on my face. I mean, I was really happy with this movie. I was even more happy texting you saying, "Man,"
of course,
just because I love messing with you. But so I think I'll give this. I'll give it an A as well. Probably more of a 94, 93. Closer down towards the A- area, just because of it is a little bit campy at points. It does have those the things that I did talk about where they don't really feel like they don't commit to an ending and things like that.
Yeah, and
also they didn't have Charlie in the movie. So,
have you seen Charlie?
No, probably
okay.
Well,
we're done. Okay. Right. There's a reason what's her name was in here instead of Charlie. I'm just saying.
Wow, Daniel.
Jennifer Connelly.
Connelly.
Correct.
She has.
She's a good.
She's aged like
good
fine
replacement.
Wine. Okay.
She looks exactly.
I don't know if there's even
Rocketeer back.
Do they touch on the age difference there? I assume there is a pretty big
she's one of those people who has not aged.
She just does not age at all. Yeah. Well, yeah. There's Top Gun Maverick. Yeah.
So let's see what else. I mean, I need to find a way to segue. I want to find other little like mini discussions that we can have to segue into the next.
Well, what was your favorite scene from the movie? From Top Gun?
I forgot to ask you. Yeah, I was going to ask Dana what is if you had to pick a favorite scene from the movie itself.
Well, I don't know if I can. I have so many, but what are some of your favorite or your top at the top of them?
Hands down, my favorite scene was when Jon Hamm took over teaching the class. And, Maverick comes back and runs the course and proves that it can be done within the time limit that he's been pushing on them. Because I felt right there that he proved to them that it could be done.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they needed to necessarily put him on the mission, but he showed them that it could be done and they could have gone with that from there. But, yeah, so I love that scene also because I love, I've got that rebel side of me, thumb in the face of authority a little bit things going on. So I can see why he did that. But that to me was like the best scene.
Yeah. I think for me, it's at the end where he, Cruise goes on the mission himself, and you genuinely don't know what's going to happen to him. You think because like we were saying, it foreshadows that he's not gonna make it out.
I thought for sure he was gonna die.
You're on the edge of your seat because because you've been briefed on the mission how dangerous this mission is, the high stakes, and you're just watching it, and you genuinely do not know what's going to happen. I think that's what the best moments in movies are, when you do not know what is going to happen, and it's just you're on the edge of your seat, suspense the whole flight here.
You know who I was most nervous for in that scene, though?
Who's that?
Payback and Fanboy. That's who I was most nervous for, because I honestly was like, these guys have been in the movie, they've been there, but they haven't really done much, and now they're suddenly throwing them on the mission. Holy crap, they're going to kill them off, they're going to kill off the minorities, they're going to do it, and I can't believe they're about to do that. But it would be such an 80s movie thing to do.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Thankfully they kept them in there. Well, one more movie at least.
Close call. Yeah.
Oh man.